Our first character today is Helen, or Hallie Clark. She was born in 1866 to James and Anna Clark. Her mother died of consumption when she was 7, and her father remarried. Sadly, he died in 1888. For many years, Helen worked as a clerk and in the millinery, or women's hats department, at several downtown Bloomington dry goods stores. As head of the millinery department at Wilcox Brothers store, one of her responsibilities included traveling to New York City to make purchases of the latest styles to bring back and sell in the store. After her father's death, Helen continued to live with her stepmother, Adelaide Stevens, who operated a boarding house at the family's home located at 515 East Washington Street. In 1905, at the age of 39, she married widower Guy McCurdy, owner and proprietor of McCurdy Hardware. The couple made their home at 416 East Grove Street and had no children. Helen Clark McCurdy had a profound interest in her community, as illustrated by her tireless work for its civic organizations and causes. She was active in the Women's Club, serving 2 terms as president, the Illinois Federation of Women's Clubs as chair of its civic committee, and was co-founder of the Civics League. Helen was very concerned with the cleanliness of the city, a topic she visited whenever she got a chance to address an audience. She supported her words with action by leading an effort to make a map detailing every garbage can in the whole city, all 6,400 of them. Because of that, in 1915, Helen decided to toss her hat, so to speak, into the realm of politics and ran to be elected as one of 5 commissioners in the newly adopted commission form of government for the city of Bloomington. She was the first woman to seek municipal office in the city's history. While not elected, the Panagraph reported that Helen made a very credible showing, but she abandoned any further ambitions for office and put her considerable energies into doing as much good for as many people as possible. She was heavily involved in a wide variety of community activities and organizations throughout the rest of her life. Now, let's go give Helen Clark McCurdy a chance to share her story about how she wanted to make Bloomington shine and make a difference in our community.
Many hands make light work, they always say, and I don't mind if the work is picking up trash. Oh, a boost for a bigger, better, brighter Bloomington. What marvelous alliteration. Vote for Helen C. McCurdy. That's me. You may not know it to look at me, but I wore many hats in my life. Daughter, store clerk, politician, civic leader, Red Cross organizer. Well, when I was younger, I worked as a milliner, making, buying, selling women's hats. I worked for many years for our family in our general store. Eventually, I put on my wedding veil and married a prominent Bloomington hardware store owner, Mr. Guy McCurdy, when I was nearly 39 years old. We never had children, so I devoted my time to many local causes for the betterment of the community. Bloomington was a much different place in 1915. I'm sure you've solved all the problems we had back then. Oh, well, come to think of it, maybe you still have the issues we had then. Do you have clean and safe streets, a good police force, and efficient politicians? Well, with all of that in mind, I put on my campaign hat and decided to use my passion and intelligence to run for city commissioner of Bloomington in 1915. My sincerest wish was to clean up the city. In my work with the Women's Club, I planned cleanup days, gathering citizens, especially children, to make Bloomington shine. Oh, and we put together a primer containing all the ordinances covering garbage and sanitation. 5,000 copies were distributed. Oh, ah. Oh. This campaign flyer is an acrostic poem using the word women. W. We want a clean, sanitary city. I mentioned the importance of sanitation. O. On the streets, a good police force. Bloomington was a growing city and we needed safety. M. Men. To help 5,000 women elect a good ticket. We women could not win an election without the support of the men. E. Effective enforcement of ordinances. We could make all the ordinances we wanted, but we needed follow through. N. Now is your chance to elect an efficient, capable woman. I felt confident I was the right woman for the job. Give Helen Clark McCurdy a chance. Now, you may be wondering how I was able to get on the ballot in 1915 when a federal amendment guaranteeing women the right to vote had not yet passed. But did you know that in 1913, Illinois was the first state east of the Mississippi to give women the right to vote in a presidential election? So, under this partial suffrage act, I was a qualified voter, and any qualified voter could run for commissioner. It was a big deal because even the local paper, the Pantagraph, wrote about it. Is that newspaper still around, the Pantagraph? They said that I was one of the most widely known women in Bloomington at the time. Oh, well, when I registered to run in the primary election, I was among 48 male candidates. After the primary, I was one of 8 names on the ballot for the 4 commissioner slots, plus 2 more men, of course, men running for mayor. Oh, all of us worked so hard. Oh, we encouraged all women to vote, but I also had the support of many prominent male residents of Bloomington, including Joseph W. Pfeiffer, the 19th governor of Illinois, who wrote a glowing letter to the Pantagraph about me. After the final votes were counted, I came in 7th. It was disappointing, but a wonderful experience. The newspaper said I ran the cleanest, most intelligent campaign ever known in Bloomington. Sadly, it was 28 years before another woman ran for any office in Bloomington. I wonder why. Oh, but you know who was elected? Alex G. Erickson. I think he loved garbage even more than me. Oh, he's around here somewhere. Oh, dear. I've been seeing a lot of these masks around here lately. Oh, this mask reminds me of my work with the Red Cross. I told you I wore many hats. After the election, I traded my politician hat for a Red Cross cap. In June of 1915, a world war was underway. The Great War, they called it. Soldiers and civilians needed our help, and we women sewed many surgical gowns, hospital supplies, and contagious ward masks. Oh, then to make things even worse, there was a great flu pandemic in 1918. For that, we needed 2,000 masks, and we sewed them. Oh, and clothing for the refugees. After the fighting stopped, the toll of the Great War became even more apparent. Thousands of refugees, women, children, families, were fleeing the destruction of war. Many of them were coming from Eastern Europe, just torn from their homes, and all they knew, they had nothing. I hope my small contributions made a difference in their lives. And you can make a difference too. You could run for office to make a change. You could organize a cleanup day in your neighborhood, and you could help those fleeing violence and injustice today. You all have gifts. So put on your thinking caps and get to work.
Following Helen Clark McCurdy's historic run for city office, it took 28 years before another woman ventured onto the ballot. In 1943, the Pantograph Society editor, Helen Rohraback, ran unsuccessfully for city council. It would then be another 26 years before a woman would run again, but this time successfully. On April 1st, 1969, Margaret Chasson was the first woman elected to serve on the Bloomington City Council.